Hello, welcome back everyone. I don't know if this is the drive time slot or the tea time slot or the what it is, but we're here. So welcome to this session with Lucie Mann on Ecobricks. And hopefully she's going to kind of let us know what they are and how we make them and share all her top tips. And I'm going to let Lucie introduce herself because she is, well, you're the watercress queen on social media, but you're actually the Ecobrick queen in my head. So yeah, I'm gonna turn my video off and my mic off, and then I'll come back on at the end, and we can go through any questions, guys. Hopefully people are getting really familiar with the platform now, but the chat box is there on the right hand side. Do say hello, do connect with each other, do chat in there. If you've got specific questions for Lucie to answer, at the bottom of your screen you should see an ask a question toggle part of the menu. If you click on that, you can ask a question in there, and it just makes it easier for us to find the questions at the end when we come back and do a bit of a Q&A. So yeah, I shall disappear and hand over to you, Lucie. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. So my name is Lucie Mann. I am known online as the Watercress Queen, and that comes from the fact that I run New Forest Aquaponics, and our first kind of crop was watercress. It was the first thing that we got going with, and fresh watercress is amazing. I live on it. So I got called the Watercress Queen. The original Watercress Queen was a really inspiring lady who took watercress from the beds around here in Hampshire to London and Manchester, made her fortune selling watercress to the workers in the factories, a traditional English breakfast for factory workers at the turn of the 18th century was watercress sandwiches, because it was a way of getting good nutrition into people. So eat your watercress. But I do get known as Ecobrick Queen, or that woman who does those Ecobricks, because in 2008, March 2018, I set up the Ecobricks UK Facebook group, and there was only 5 of us in it at that point. I'd only found 5 people who'd even heard of an Ecobrick. The group's now at 42,000 members, and it's amazing that that many people really do care. So a bit of history of how I got into that. The first time I saw an Ecobrick was Christmas Day 2017, and I was sat in my chair. The room was full of oops, there go my scissors, full of plastic. People had given our children presents. I at the time was recovering from a stroke, so people were trying to look after us and take care of us and had provided for our children. So lots of things I wouldn't have bought them. And there was plastic everywhere, which was really upsetting me. And there was a bottle that my son had been bought, my older son, he'd been allowed a bottle of Coke. He now chooses not to drink it, which is a really good part of our journey. And I saw this picture. I was having a moment. I was trying to escape from the noise, and I was scrolling through Facebook, and there was a picture of an Ecobrick, and I went, oh, there's plastic, and there's all this bottle, and I could do this. And a few hours later, I had a really bad Ecobrick. It was really badly made. I hadn't washed the plastic. I hadn't chopped it up. And I had just stuffed it in this bottle, but I actually had an Ecobrick. And it was like, okay, so I'm told I can build with this. How do I build with this? Because this doesn't feel solid enough to build with. It didn't feel like a brick. So, okay, I will investigate. And I don't know if any of you have ever been through therapy for brain injury, but when I had specifically lost my ability to understand the written word, so I could tell you what a word was. I couldn't tell you what its meaning was. And the therapy worksheets that they gave me were so boring. It's like, oh my God, It's just like I had no interest in reading it. But what I did have an interest was actually finding out how I could build with this Ecobrick that I'd made, because I'd managed to make something. So I researched and I read the Ecobrick site over and over again, and it helped me. It was part of my recovery back to where I am now. So Ecobricks can be really healing, not just for us, or not just for the planet, but for us as well, and for communities. They can bring people together. They can help you keep to goals that you set yourself, and they can help you on your journey to kind of keeping you intact with your plastic journey and reduction of plastic, because that's what we're all about. I thought I would start with, now I've waffled on a bit. I thought I would show you part of our Ecobrick presentation. So the way we teach about Ecobricks is normally we run workshops, and when we're not all trapped in our houses, we do these in-person workshops, which is about bringing people together. It's very important to our core that we bring people together with a common goal. The workshops on average last around 4 hours. Part of it is a presentation. Then we spend, and the presentation is about understanding why we make Ecobricks, why we're in such a mess with plastic, and debunking some of the myths that we've been fed over the years about what recycling actually means, and etc. We then set to and make Ecobricks, and we start off making a really small one, so 500ml bottle at the, at the most, in a workshop, and that allows us to really show you good techniques on how to make a good solid Ecobrick. And hopefully by the end of it, we'll have at least some of the people there will have completed a good solid Ecobrick, and we can then show them and demonstrate how to make a module. And that's where the magic comes in, because it turns this plastic that you've had, that's come into your life that you've not been able to avoid, and it is the plastic that you can't avoid, that you try your best to refuse and reuse, and at the end of it, when you can't do anything else, and you want to trust and know where that plastic is, and that you know that it's not going to harm the environment, because when you look after it, I'm sure you trust yourself. I trust myself. We can turn the plastic into something that's really useful and is really going to benefit ourselves, our communities, and protect the environment. But it's really important you do it right. So let's see if I can manage this screen share. Okay, and okay, so this is, if I've done it right, here we are. Okay, and there we go.
Perfect, we can see that. Yeah, well done.
Excellent. Okay, so this is how to make an Ecobrick. So this is when we've talked about all the rest of the whys and the wherefores, because it's really important that we get it right. There isn't enough time to go through the presentation right now, but I'm doing a whole series of the presentations online, our online version of it, if you have a spare 2 hours at some point, and I'll show you how to find where to log on to those later. So how to make an Ecobrick. Making an Ecobrick is a simple but start right. This is a long-term lifestyle habit that you are beginning. Your first Ecobrick is your most important. Follow some simple guidelines to make it great. Now, when I made my first Ecobrick, there was nobody to help me. There was nobody was really kind of understanding the full techniques here in the UK. So I had to work it out. And it, I'll confess, it took me a while. So we segregate, collect and prepare plastics of all kinds to make your Ecobricks. So we have just done a white paper on plastics and eco-bricks during the COVID-19 period, because it became quite apparent that we needed to update our guidelines to make sure we were including the best information for the current time. And this is a worldwide organisation. There are people in the Philippines and Indonesia. In fact, we've got something like 149 countries with Ecobrickers in. Not all are active, but, you know, we have to allow for everybody's guidelines for how they're dealing with this. So delivery packaging, that's your styrofoam, that's your anything that comes in is delivered to you and comes in plastic bags. Your takeaway packaging, non-medical face masks, so that's not your fabric homemade face masks, that's the ones that you can buy. They are made of polypropylene, so if you're using them, you're breathing through plastic. I have made a set of masks from some really nice fabric for my family, and also your gloves as well, not latex. So you clean and dry your plastic. What we are recommending, if you're really worried, to have clean and dirty spaces in your house when your shopping arrives, so you can wash your packaging straight away. One of the great things about plastic is if it's sealed up properly, and I haven't tried this because we don't eat crisps, but apparently you can put a packet of crisps in a bowl of water and it doesn't leak. So you know, you can wash your plastic as it comes into the house. Have it in your dirty section, wash your plastic, put it in the clean section, preferably decant it. As many people have found, there is so much more plastic coming in because the insistence of supermarkets using it, etc. So choose your brand of bottle carefully. And the reason we say this is if you are going, we want people to think ahead of what they're doing. It's okay to just grab a bottle and make an eco-brick with it, as long as it's clean and dry and you're following the rest of the guidelines. But ideally, plan ahead, because what use are you going to make of these eco-bricks? If you're going to make a stool or one of our modules to be in your home, where is it going to live? What's the colour of that room? How would you like it to look? It's that thought process. And if you're going to make a module, you need to use bottles that are all the same. If I hold this one up, I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but this is a module that I have made, and you can see it's all the same bottles. And I'll talk about how I made that in a bit. So your bottles need to have smooth sides, if I'm holding them straight, that sit like that. Lots of contact points. But the key element is that they're all the same. If you know that you're going to build maybe with earth and build outside, your cob, your earth, which your cob, which we call earth, acts as a mortar. So it doesn't matter if they're not all identical, because you're going to fill those gaps in. If you're going to, you know that you've got a local project nearby and you're going to donate your eco-bricks to the project, ask them what they're using. Make sure that you are adding value to their product, not leaving them with extra eco-bricks that they maybe don't have a use for. And if there isn't a local project, could you set one up? Could you create a community project that will bring people together? And one of the things that we are working on making is earthen play parks with benches and raised beds for growing food in, which gives length of life to that project. Use coloured soft plastic to give the brick a bottom colour. This will make your eco-brick constructions colourful. Now, we get a lot of stick in the UK for this. In the Philippines and Indonesia, they have huge amounts of coloured soft plastic. So they're they use a lot of really soft, like your really soft plastic bags, carrier bags, the really cheap ones. They have lots and lots of plastic like that, and it is really colourful. They love having different colours for different things, and so they have access to a lot of it. Here in the UK, we struggle a little bit more for actually being able to have those colours. And the plastic that is coloured tends to be a slightly harder plastic. So, for example, oh, I just knocked everything off. Sorry. This is a piece of plastic. I was given this because somebody went, oh, I've just ripped it and it's pink and I'm sure you'll love it. So this will become a bottom of an Ecobrick, but you can see it's not a really soft plastic. So I'm going to have to work with this to make it an effective bottom. It's not the be all and end all. If you cannot make a coloured bottom, don't panic. It's not necessary. It doesn't make for a bad Ecobrick. It is something to make people know in the future, because these Ecobricks, if they're made properly, will last possibly hundreds of years. You're leaving a message for people to tell them that you cared enough, that you wanted to make sure the plastic and the carbon that traps into these bottles is secure, and that you want them to be able to use them themselves when they find them. Cut your clean and dry plastic up and pack it. So this is another really important stage. We want the plastic to be nice and small. The smaller it is, the more you can get into one Ecobrick. And it is actually a really therapeutic thing to do. I know lots of people like, oh, can't cut it up, it's too difficult. It's not. Sit there. So there's two different ways to do it. Once your plastic is clean and dry, you can either sit there, good movie, whatever you like to watch on the telly, or I actually sometimes like to just sit in silence and cut, because it's almost become a meditative action for me. And chop it all in one go. Or you can do the other method that I use, because sometimes, like for example, you might get a small piece of plastic that's come off something, like on milk bottles, they often have a band of plastic which is different to the milk bottle. So I take those off and I chop them up straight away. And I keep a tub like this. Now I keep this tub for cutting the small bits of plastic up into on my dining room table. One of the reasons that I use this, because it doesn't look very nice in my living room, but one of the reasons I use this is it's a reminder to my meat-eating boys in my family that actually they really didn't enjoy this, and it was bought for them and they found it was disgusting, and it was a pivotal moment in them recognizing that not just because you can buy something that you should buy it, they really didn't enjoy it. So I keep it there. It's one of those subtle reminders to them. And I just cut any little bits that I get, I put in there. I've just filled this up so I can show you and use it to show you stuffing an Ecobrick in a minute. So really important things: do not pack metal or glass inside, that can damage the bottle. Avoid packing food leftovers, which will biodegrade inside, and that's another important one. It's not pleasant having an Ecobrick with food that's breaking down inside. And if you're going to make a module for in your home, if you're going to have a stall, you want it to be nice, so you don't want to be able to see that food's breaking down in there. Use a bamboo or wooden stick to pack it down. Don't use metal or glass, because there is or you can't pack with glass, but don't use metal. It's really frustrating when you're getting to that last bit and you make a hole. That's you're going to have to start again. I use these. This is an earth wand. Now these are made in Indonesia. We're going to look at an English made version when I have time. it revolutionizes eco-bricking, to be honest. I know I'm kind of encouraging you to buy it, but it really makes a difference. But you can make your own. The whole idea is that you should be able to access all of the resources without the need for buying anything. You know, we want everybody anywhere who has access to a bottle and a stick and some plastic to make an eco brick.
Lucy, I said we'd save the questions till the end, but there's some that are kind of popping up as to what you're saying now. So yeah. Sorry, I hope it doesn't interrupt your flow too much. Why can't we use latex gloves in Ecobricks?
Because latex breaks down. Latex is a natural product. It's not a plastic.
Brilliant. Okay. And how do we? Is there any way of knowing if a glove is unless we've got the box there in front of us?
You can sometimes tell. So latex. They tend to break quite easily, and they feel slightly different. They tend usually to be cream coloured. Okay. I don't know if there's any other colours of them, but they tend usually to be the like the cream coloured ones, and blue ones tend to be the plastic ones.
Yeah, I'm seeing lots of purple ones out and about, dropped on the floor.
Yeah.
Don't know what. Yeah. Somebody said about cutting it up. Cutting it up produces so much static, and all the weeny bits sort of fly out of the bottle.
They do. So the static is one of the issues that drives me round the bend as well. You can make your plastic cold, stick it in the fridge. That helps. You can, for me, when I'm actually cutting up a large amount of plastic, I cut it into a pillowcase. Okay. This looks like a lot of plastic. I had a huge backlog, which had, you know, when you have a shed and you put something in the shed till later, and I had a lot of really busy times, and it had just built up, and people kept giving me plastic. Please don't take plastic from other people. Get people to take the responsibility for their own plastic. And the minute you start saying to people, oh, I'm eco-bricking, they'll want to give you their plastic. Don't let them. Don't take it, because otherwise you end up with a backlog. Anyway, so I cut into a pillowcase that stops the plastic flying everywhere. And then once the different types of plastic start mixing together, you do get less static. It does help.
Brilliant. And then the last question at the moment on sort of cutting up our plastic and things is, what about the paper labels that are stuck fast to plastic wrappings that can't easily be removed?
Yeah, so those plastic labels, the paper labels, actually quite often have quite a high percentage of plastic within them, in the glue, in the if they're thermal printed, there's can be quite often be chemicals within the printing as well. So labels, if they're clean and dry, because they're a small amount of plastic, a small amount of paper, can go in.
Brilliant.
Chop it up, and that's fine to go in. What I do tend to find is when you wash your plastic, if you've got a label on there, that will come off once it's wet. You can rub it off.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and then you're just left with the glue residue, which you actually want in the eco brick more than you don't.
Brilliant, thank you. That's all the questions. I'll let you get back to it.
Okay, so your non-medical face masks, I'll just mention that here again. You know, it's really important. This is not hospital waste. This is not care home waste. This is personal stuff, personal plastic that you're using. And when you have used a mask, ideally wash it with hot soapy water straight away, hang it out to dry, preferably in the sun. Chop it up as soon as you can and get it trapped in that eco brick. Okay. Weights. Now, the minimum weight for an eco brick is its bottle volume times 0.33. So a litre eco brick, or a litre bottle, which is one of these, needs to be a minimum of 333 grams. I get these are Robinson's 1 litre bottles, which I beg and half-inch off everybody. Don't drink the stuff myself or my kids, but these I get to an average of 400 grams every time. With the right techniques, I struggle to not reach that. The reason we have the weight guidelines is that if you're giving your Ecobrick to a project, or if you're making a module, you will know that it is going to be strong and secure and usable. A squashy Ecobrick you can't make a module. And we want Ecobricks to be able to be used anywhere. So if somebody has an Ecobrick stool and they decided that they didn't want it anymore, and they were going to give their Ecobricks to a local project, this module can be taken apart, the Ecobricks will come out unharmed, and they can be given to the project. But the project wants to be able to know that they can use them, so they need to be of that minimum weight, so that the project will know they can use them in whatever application they want to. The other reason is very gradually there is testing going on around the world. Fire testing is something that's being done first of all. It's been started in South Africa, and they got funding to do some amazing tests for Ecobricks used within walls, and they've done a whole a set of tests with building them in different ways. We're still waiting for the results of that. Here in the UK, our contribution to this worldwide sort of initiative to get testing done is we've applied for, but sadly because of lockdown and everything, the application has just been, the whole thing's been shelved. We've applied for testing for single Ecobricks, so that we can monitor exactly what happens to individual Ecobricks and Ecobricks in modules in somebody's house. Because we want, if we're telling people to make these, we want to know that they are going to be safe. To test them, we have to have set perimeters. We have to know that, you know, an Ecobrick that falls into our guidelines will behave in this way. So it is an important thing. I know a lot of people moan about it, but it is important. The maximum weight, that's there because if you've got a set of modules, or a module with 16 Ecobricks and they all weighed 1 kilo, a child wouldn't be able to lift it, or an old lady wouldn't be able to lift it. It's all about making it accessible to everybody. We mark our Ecobricks to let people know that they're a good Ecobrick and logged on our GoBrick database. And we use nail varnish, or enamel paint is the best. Nail varnish is a second. If you don't use nail varnish, like I didn't, when we kind of worked out this worked really well, it's like, okay, I don't use nail varnish. So I asked my neighbours and I got loads of it. So, you know, you don't need to buy anything to make an Ecobrick. So that's one that's been marked, and you can see it's got the weight, so that's 402 grams. I made it in March of this year. It was one of the first ones I did for the COVID period, following the COVID guidelines. So we're just putting a C on them so that, again, in the future, people will know when this was made. And then it's got the number that you get from GoBrick on it. And
Lucie, sorry, there's a question about the weight saying, if you don't get it up to weight, is that a disaster if you don't register it and just use it for a personal project?
It's not a disaster, and it's perfectly fine to do that. But what will happen to that Ecobrick when you're no longer around? What we're aiming at is long-term circular thinking that will allow an Ecobrick, because it will outlast all of us. All the Ecobricks I have, and I have thousands, because everybody wanted to send them to me, and it's wonderful because to build larger projects you do need, you know, a lot. A simple shed will take about 2,000 Ecobricks, so that's okay that I have lots. I have put them in my will because they will last longer than me, and I have put them in my will to my children because I trust that my children to look after the Ecobricks. Woe betide them if they don't. You know, so it's about that long term. So if you have an underweight Ecobrick, is that going to incentivize somebody who didn't know you to still care for it? And we want Ecobricks cared for, because it's caring for the plastic, because the plastic is trapping the carbon. And if we are sequestering carbon within the Ecobricks to keep it out of the biosphere on a long-term basis, we need them to be cared for. So we need to incentivize strangers who don't know us to care for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. But poor Helen's now saying, so should I unpack all 15 Ecobricks I've made and start again?
There are ways to fix poorly packed Ecobricks. So think about where you would want them to be used. And ideally, that sort of Ecobrick I would aim to use in a cob build, so a project that's going to build with them in earth. And then you can use techniques like gently rolling underneath your foot to move the plastic down. If you cut some long strips of soft plastic, like this sort of thing, and slide that down the edges to fill your gaps, you can get them back up to weight. I've done it with loads, especially because when people have sent me this type of bottle that are not up to weight, because we are aiming to make Lego modules out of these, and I need about 100, if not 1,000. Any that I get that aren't up to weight, I will repair, because these are valuable to me.
Brilliant. Okay. And then possibly fits in with the issue you were talking about, the sort of fire safety and things like that. Miriam's asking if anyone's looked at the issue of the plastic breaking down over time and contributing to sort of microplastic pollution when they're used outside.
Yeah, we look at this all the time. I think there's a misconception that we're not monitoring this, and as much as we can. I mean, we're a really small team. There's only 3 of us at the core of Ecobricks, and one of those is me. And you know, I can't help with monitoring the long-term builds in Indonesia and the Philippines, but we get independent people in as well. And you'll find, if you search for it on the Ecobrick website, there is the first report that we had done. It's called the Andrew report, so you can look for ecobricks.org/Andrew, and it will bring it up. And if we don't monitor them, we can't make sure we're doing best practice. If they are cared for, so and this is because we haven't done the full presentation, I haven't talked about the UV light and the fire issues and all the rest of it that we do talk about. If you're using an Ecobrick outside, you want it covered. It doesn't want to be exposed to UV light. And this is why we find it really important that we help to explain all of this to people, so that the Ecobricks are cared for. So yeah, all plastic long term, if it was left outside, is going to break down into microplastics. But then the volume of an Ecobrick, and the one of the things we do want to do at some point, but we've not worked out how we do this, is to actually look at the surface area of the plastic that would be in an Ecobrick like this if you laid it out. And it's a really interesting experiment. If you look at your plastic, put it all in a huge bag and weigh it, and then see how much that weighs compared to a really good Ecobrick, and you'll be surprised at actually how much is in there. As an example, this one, and I don't know how well you can see it, I've just done a post on my page on this. You'll see there's a coloured section here, and that was a reusable shopping bag, one of these ones that you get. I don't know which supermarket it was from, because it was a bag that had been given to me. I think it came in at one of the clothes swaps I organised, and it's a big shopping bag type thing, and the handle had broken. We've been using it for a couple of years, and week before, my other half came back from the greengrocers excuse me, and the handle, just the whole edge of the bag just completely ripped, wasn't usable anymore. So that's in there, that whole bag. So if we're looking at plastic breaking down, if that plastic had gone out into the environment and it broke down, it's not contained, it's not. Whereas if we have if we're taking care of them and we know where they are, say an Ecobrick breaks down, the bottle fails, the chances are that it's going to be somewhere where somebody knows where it is and it can be cared for. I would hope that people aren't leaving them out to be exposed to the UV. The other important issue you'll sometimes see, and I mention this here, sometimes you'll see the walls that have been built with Ecobricks and they have their bottoms exposed. This is one of the reasons why it's really, really important to keep your bottom as full and sturdy as possible and to not damage it. And I'll show you how to avoid that in a moment. The bottom of a bottle is the strongest part of the bottle because it's designed to hold the weight of the liquid. So it can take more light than any other part, as long as you haven't dimpled it or damaged it. But what we found in our new technique for being able to demonstrate that a build is made with Ecobricks is when we build with cob, we have that they're actually sunk in for about 2 inches, and that actually provides enough shade. So the first major build using that technique happened last year, and it's being monitored on a daily basis. It's out in the Philippines. It's a community food and play park now, and people use it every day. So it's being looked at, it's being cared for, and you know, it should last. So let me just explain this. Did that answer the question? Is that okay?
Yes, that was brilliant. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Sorry to keep interrupting.
No, it's all right. It's just I'm so used to having people coming back and forth at me. So, so record your Ecobrick on our GoBrick database, and then if you're making a lot of Ecobricks and you're running a project, there's some really good storage techniques that you can use that help you make the most of your Ecobricks for building. And then once you've made your Ecobricks, build with them. Okay, and I've talked a little bit about that. The modules, this is all on our Ecobricks .org page under build, and there is instructions on how to make the triangle modules, the hexagon modules, and the Lego modules. If you have a triangle and a hexagon all made of the same brand of bottle, they sit on top of each other to make a table. The Lego modules, they stack on top of each other exactly the same as a Lego brick. They are giant Lego. They are amazing fun. You put Lego bricks, giant Lego bricks, in with a group of adults and tell them to play, and they cannot resist it. It's a really good way of getting that conversation started. They take 16 Ecobricks. They're slightly harder to build, but my son Robert, who's 17, he's probably made more modules in the UK than anybody else, and he is making all of these for me, and he's working on quite an interesting project as well, using a slightly different type of Lego module. So the Ecobrick and Earth building, we're about to launch our Earth and Ecobrick building online. Obviously we've kind of, at this time, we can't organise big builds. We should have been running one in the UK this year. It would have been a 5-day event with space for up to 300 people to come and help us build, but that'll be next year now. And then we have all our resources. So if I stop sharing that one, how do I change what I'm okay, Jen, how do I change what I'm screen sharing?
So I think if you click on the cross where it says close video on that, let's try that.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's closed your video. Oh no, hold on. No, it's just me now. Are you still there, Lucy? Oh, we've booted her off. That was really silly. Bear with, guys. Bear with. Invite Lucy back on screen. So don't press the cross button above your video is what we're learning there from that one. Let's see if Lucy can get back on. I would share with you. You see, don't press the cross button. No, that's really stupid. But at least now you're not showing your screen anymore.
Okay, shall I actually do some Ecobrick demonstrations here? Whoops. Yeah. So, like I said, these are the bottle I'm using. If you've never made one before, try and find a small bottle to start with. Makes it much easier. If you don't drink out of plastic bottles, which I really hope you don't, I don't understand why anybody wants to drink out of something that can release dioxins into the thing that you're drinking. Then ask your neighbours, go on a litter pick. Make sure it's probably not now for a litter pick, but do just have that conversation, because it starts the conversation with somebody else. It's a really great way of getting somebody to think about the reduction in their plastic. When I started doing workshops and I was trying to find lots of these to take to workshops, I asked my neighbour who drank tonic water in small bottles. She had this isn't one of them, but she had a 250ml bottle every day. That was 7 bottles a week with the outer plastic and everything. She now has gone to 1 litre bottles and has just 1 bottle a week. So it helps the conversation. She would never have changed if I hadn't have had that conversation with her. So the bottom, let me talk about bottoms. In the bottom, and I know it's slightly difficult to see, is the soft plastic. Let me show you on this one. Okay, in this one, that black section here is 3 bin bags that had been broken. So obviously we couldn't use them. I'd saved them until I had an empty bottle to do it with. So there was 3 in there. If you think about the volume, again, I did a post on that on my page, so you can look that up if you so wish. So you start with putting the soft plastic in the bottom and just push it into the dents. If this one doesn't have many dents, if you've got a bottle with really deep dents, then you want to make sure that they're full. It will spring up to start off with. Don't panic about that. Just give it that molded rough shape, and then as you start filling, it will compress down and fill the dimples really well. And then you need to start filling the Ecobricks. So I'll just show you with some of this. Now I'm holding it, I don't know if you can see, I'm holding it over the tub. Okay, when I sit down to make an Ecobrick, so if I've chopped up all my plastic and it's all in a pillowcase, it's a chance to watch another movie. I then will hold the Ecobrick inside the pillowcase to stuff, so that none of the plastic is going anywhere. We want it all looked after. And then stuff loads in, put loads in one go. Okay, so let's do it more. Right, so when you've got a nice load, now I would actually just keep pushing it in until I can't actually push any more in like this, just with my fingers, just loosely with my fingers. And then we take our earth one. This is my original, by the way, so it's lost its end bit. It's made 1 or 2 Ecobricks. And the really important thing, okay, and this is a mistake that everybody makes, what we do not want is that. You do not want to be pushing down. So that was on the table. That is going to damage the bottom of your bottle. It's hard work, and it's not going to squash the plastics successfully. Okay, what you do if you want to make really good Ecobricks is you hold your bottle upwards, you hold the plastic, and this is really difficult to show online, I apologize. You hold the plastic, so the bit of plastic is there, against the side of the bottle, and then you push it downwards. Okay, and that has now gone right down here. And then you turn the bottle slightly, you squash the next bit of plastic, and you push that down. Okay, so, and you don't even have to hold the bottom of the bottle, you can just push upwards. Okay, I apologize, I really wish I could find a way to make this clearer. You push it upwards, you turn, and you push upwards, and you turn, and you push upwards, and you turn, and you keep doing that. The next really important thing is weigh it as you go along. Okay, so this Ecobrick, which is, and what you'll find is as you're pushing that plastic down, by pushing it against the side, it does this thing where it just congeals. It just becomes solid. So you're continually pushing down the outside, and it will become really rock solid. Now this one, I've only just started, and I can still get a slight squeeze in the bottom. So we're really only solid up to about there. And I will tell you how much it weighs. It is already, with only that bit of the bottom solid, 122 grams. So, and I actually only need it to be 333 grams. And by weighing it as you go along and making sure that your bottom third is at least a third of what you need it to be, you can't fail. Okay, and it's a habit. Once you've learnt your technique, and once you've made yourself a really good one, you won't make a bad one. I couldn't make an underweight one. And I've made around 300 of these. So the next stage is this one, is further on, and you can see I'm keeping the lids with it. It's really, really important. Keep putting your lid back on your bottle. One, it keeps plastic trapped. Two, saves you losing the lid, because you do need your lid on the Ecobrick. Yes. And then for this one, which is a bit further along, okay, you can see I can hardly push it down now, but I'm still using that same technique all the way round. Okay. When you get to the top, you can then start just using, I quite often use my thumb just to push that last bit in at the very top. You don't fill it right to the very top. That's the lid for that one. I also keep a box of spare lids. If you're taking in Ecobricks from other people, it is a really good idea to keep a box of spare lids, just in case, because sometimes people don't put the lids on, but you can't actually log them without, so, but they sometimes break. When you're getting to the end, if you look, all bottles have like the line where the cap fitted. Do not fill beyond that, just literally fill up to here. Okay, the reason we don't fill to the very end is because the Ecobricks, when they're used in a module, if they're upside down and somebody's sitting on them, you can crack your lid if the plastic's pressing on it. So it's another measure of making sure that Ecobrick is going to last for as long as the bottle can physically last. Okay, so any more questions, or shall I?
Yeah, just one more question. Have these been used alongside hempcrete or cob, etc.? With the planting of more hemp, hence benefits from this and clearing up the current plastic epidemic, it makes total sense that maybe we'll be using it more with hemp.
Yeah, so hempcrete actually still is a form of concrete and still has additional chemicals in it in one form. Hemp can be used within cob. Cob building, wattle and daub, so it's the wattle inside the daub, or cob or earth, is the perfect way to use these. When you take anything built with cob and Ecobricks apart, the Ecobricks come out exactly as they go in. They do not change at all. So my first experiment with this was a small planter at the aquaponics farm. My other half managed to knock it over. He was moving some stuff around and got a bit enthusiastic, knocked it over. So I took it apart, and the Ecobricks came out exactly as they had gone in. There was nothing different about them at all. You wouldn't have known that they'd spent a year covered in cob. We have a lady in Wales, Lucie Mann, who is she's doing a master's degree on building with waste and cob. She is currently building the UK's first proper cob shed that's made with earth and Ecobricks. We've sent her nearly 900 Ecobricks, and I've got another 70 odd to send her. And she's experimenting with the weights and making sure that we know how different weights perform in the cob, because again, we're constantly striving for new data and making sure that we are following best practice. And hopefully she'll finish it within the next few weeks, and we'll be able to share pictures, and that will be, hopefully will stay there for many years. It's a large shed. It's taken around 2,000 Ecobricks. I'm quite excited to see it.
Brilliant, perfect, thank you. And Malcolm says, is that at CAT? Is that the Centre for Alternative Technology? I think CAT, is it?
No, she teaches there, but it's the Incredible Edible Project in Porthmandog. Her name's Lucie Mann. You can look her up, and anybody can go and see it. So the Incredible Edible Project is actually outside the sports centre in Porthmandog, and you know, so it's completely open. They've got amazing food growing there, and it's all in reused, upcycled stuff. She's got boats. I think she's got some toilets, and she's got a food raised bed that's been going for about a year there as well. Quite a large one which is Ecobricks and cob.
Fabulous. I'm just keeping my eye on time because I've got to hot foot it over to the next session in a minute. But yeah, thank you so much, Lucie. Do you want to just let everybody know where to come and find you?
Yeah, so there's loads I've missed off there.
It's so hard, isn't it?
So I can't show you. So you can find the work that I'm doing at newforestaquaponics.com. You can find all the information you ever wanted to know about Ecobricks on ecobricks.org, and we have a frequently asked questions page. If you start there, all the questions we commonly get asked is there, and there's so much reading there. The amount of work that's gone on to this and the principles behind it. The principle page is lovely to read, actually. Because it's far more about the plastic. It's really about caring for the plastic and making it useful so that we do care for it, and about bringing people together and making things accessible to everybody. And then there's the GoBrick, which is the database for logging your Ecobricks, and on GoBrick you will find our online courses listed, and I usually try and do 2 a week. So I've got one tomorrow night, which is at 7:30, which is the full presentation, and then there's one Saturday morning.
Amazing.
Well, yeah,
brilliant. And you've got the UK Ecobricks Facebook group as well, which, as you said, is massive. And is that Ecobricks UK?
That's Ecobricks UK on Facebook, and I'm the Watercress Queen on Facebook and Instagram.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Guys, if your pledge, following this talk, or your pledge that comes out of the festival is to make an Ecobrick, go and share that on the pledge page. I'll post the link to the pledge page just now. But really loving seeing everybody's pledges appear on there and all this action that's coming out of the festival. So a massive thanks to you, Lucie. Thank you for your time and your expertise. And I hope to catch you very, very soon.
Yeah, and thank you for having me, Jen. It's been wonderful. Really, really
always
good.
A pleasure to talk to you, Lucie. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.